go.
Salud.
Podcast 4.
All right. FDT episode number 4. It started, didn't it?
It did. It just started.
Oh my gosh. This is awesome. If you can't tell, we're in beautiful River Hops. It is amazing here.
What does the T stand for? FDT?
Yeah, FDT, like TEA. Thoughtful exchange about the arts.
I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Give us the tea about the arts.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah. But yes, we are at River Hops.
Check out this awesome backdrop.
And we at the Fort Dodge Fine Arts are super excited that River Hops is one of our newest members of the Fort Dodge Fine Arts. So we are helping to promote their live music and all things creative.
Like their excellent beer.
Yes, because that is an art, right?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I was just thought about that like one time. Like, I mean, if you really want to look at it, there's a lot of people's talents that could be considered art if they're doing them in a certain fashion. Like, not everyone can craft beer. I mean, it's
right.
It's not a thing that, you know. And even if you can, like, I bought a kit once and tried to make beer, and it didn't turn out as it was drinkable, but it didn't turn out anything near as good as what is coming out of here. So
yeah, no, culinary arts, winery.
Yes.
I mean, we are not by any means like stereotyped as a certain niche. Performing arts, visual arts, all of this.
That's amazing.
Are involved. So here we are.
Yes, we are here. Who we got with us today?
Oh my gosh. I'm glad you asked me that. Because as we've mentioned in our previous podcast, the whole idea behind this is to help showcase our members, help showcase what their organization is doing, but not only that, what the people behind these organizations are doing as well, who they are as people. So I would like to go to my right, and we're going to start with you, Mr. Trevino, and I would like you to introduce yourself, say a little bit about your background as musicians, both of you, and we'll get into the Reforge stuff in a little bit. But this is about you as people. Just pretend like no one's ever heard of you in the area.
That's hard to
I
pretend.
know. Is it really that hard to pretend?
Yes, no.
God.
I miss the days.
This is like a job interview.
Yeah. My name's Alex Trevino, and I miss the days when I lived in a big city and I was completely anonymous. I could go everywhere without, being seen and known. But no, my name is Alex Trevino, local musician. I play with a few bands here.
What bands?
Including one with this guy, a band called Brutal Republic with this man. A duo project with my friend Jeff, Stadium Drive. There's a lot. I'm not going to list all of them. But yeah, I stay very busy. I'm a full-time musician. I have a little studio. And yeah, it keeps me busy. And then I help Jeremy out with the Reforge from time to time.
Great.
Yes.
Mr. Ober.
This is the approval. I do everything for your approval. So, yeah.
Mine are Ober's.
Yeah, I live for validation.
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is
all
yes.
of it. Yeah, everyone.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I'm a guy, and
I was wondering.
But only one man.
yeah, I play music. Have been for 20 years. 21
I would have
years.
guessed more like
23
50.
years. 23 years, I guess now.
Yeah.
I'm in 2 bands with Alex Trevino.
It's too many.
One called Brutal Republic.
What a
one
struggle.
called Lone Tree Revival.
Lone Tree
Oh yeah,
Revival.
Lone Tree. Yeah.
Huge
Is there a picture of you guys right over there on the wall?
Oh, no, not. I hate that picture.
That's a good one.
I'm like awkwardly out. Oh wait, no, not that.
There's a picture of a lot of
good one.
musicians
That one's
on the
a
wall actually in the backdrop. That's pretty cool. Did we plan that? I don't know.
Maybe. Okay.
That's about it.
No, you also teach guitar
I do
lessons.
teach guitar. Yeah, I guess I've been doing that for about 21 years. I think that's it.
Okay.
Right?
But that's
Well,
really
you
it.
run a jam,
Yeah.
once a month jam.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a jam at Eagles Hideout.
Yep. Second floor of the Eagles.
The third Thursday.
This is going to be like pulling teeth.
Yeah, every third Thursday.
We'll get there.
It's actually very fun if you're listening out there, and it's a Thursday, and it might even be the third one of the month. You should definitely go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're mad out.
Yeah, the great thing about that too is that there are all levels of musicians, beginners to old timers like Jeremy.
And it's all fun, on love, no judgment. It's a very safe space.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite things there, I talked about it a couple times, but it was like, you can go to the jam, and it's like I don't feel like I'm obligated to play for a long time here because there's so many people that want to play. So it's like it's kind of nice. You can just get your 2-3 songs in and just be like, I'm just going to enjoy myself the rest of the night.
You never know who you might get thrown up with, because you might get thrown up with some dirty dogs.
It's wild.
If you're
By
lucky.
dirty dogs, I mean very good players, for those who don't know the vernacular.
Yes,
I thought you were referring to Clint Riedel.
That's another kind of dirty dog. We won't get into that.
But it's also great just for the public to come and attend and watch, because it's people that don't generally play together for the most part.
Yeah.
And you never know what they're going to create.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the drummer from band A playing with the guitarist from band B, and there's for some reason somebody on slide guitar in there, and they have, it's just whoever's there showing up doing whatever, and you do a good job of mixing it up with people, and it's
it's a different house band every month, so it's never the same players. There's players in the house band that bring their stuff for everyone to use, amps and drums and whatnot. But it's never the same people twice in a row.
And that does create its own fun challenges.
Yeah.
Just having to work with someone else's gear.
Yep.
yeah, for sure. That's something
I always have to turn Peter's amp all the way up whenever he's in the house band, because I'm deaf, and Peter's a very tasteful person.
I trust the sound guy. I
don't
Mark.
trust the sound guy.
He
Never
just
have, never will.
He just had a podcast with Mark, and they talked about just this thing.
They did.
Don't listen to it. They're
I
wrong.
think your name specifically
Yes,
was dropped.
they're wrong. They're wrong. Be loud. It's more fun.
Well, and from kind of the civic-minded, there is an educational aspect of this. I love it when there's like students that are getting up there and play. I've noticed many of these moments over the years, and this isn't a podcast that's necessarily about the jam, but just the last one that I went to with. Who was it? It was Jesse Wilson, and there was a high school student up there playing, and just watching that interaction of somebody that's really, well versed on stage and knows what he's doing, but to look at this guy, and Jeremy, you do the same thing, and just be like, I'm being laid back, not pressured about this, but here's the chords. Yeah, you're doing it. You're really doing it, and just to encourage them and give them that.
It makes me wonder how
space.
much of that is the impetus behind some of the scholarships getting started.
Yes, and that civic
we should eventually
portion
talk
of
to.
it.
Yeah,
and
but
we're going
you see
to.
these talented young people, and you want to help, and you want to see what you can do. And yeah, obviously, a jam night is one great way to do that. But
Well, and we're going to get into
taking it
that.
to the next level.
We're definitely going to get into that. But another thing, because this is Fort Dutch Fine Arts based, is I do want to talk just really quickly about some of the other community groups that you both have either been in the pit for or played for. I think that that's a really cool component that we have our local musicians involved. I don't want to list these for you, but if you don't mind sharing some of the...
Yeah, while you guys think about it, like when you actually sent me that question, you were like, what about this? And I was just like, yeah, that's a good question, because I think that gets swept under the rug a lot more, because people, they think like, oh, live music, 4-piece band playing Tom Petty covers or whatever it is, and like they don't think about, like when I went to the theater, this person was in the pit and I didn't see him, but they were there playing.
It's true.
I think that's something a lot of people just, they don't realize that you do.
I've done a lot of shows for Comedia. I've done some pit gigs out at the college when they need whether it be for show choir, or it's been times to where the jazz band didn't have a guitar player, and so they needed somebody to show up and play guitar. I play in the 515 big band as well, and we play, a good, I'd say, dozen shows a year.
Yeah, for sure.
if not more.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, minus Comedia, I've done more or less the same gigs, and a few other ones with like some local churches.
Yep.
And then I was a lot more extensively involved with like the Iowa Central Choir program a few years back. In recent times it's been a little bit slower, but yeah, still love to do that when the opportunity arises. Obviously, pit orchestra gigs are a totally different beast than playing at a bar or like a big music venue. So
Yeah, and being like super regimented about reading the music, as opposed to
following along to a show. Sometimes that can be a huge thing. As you know, we've done some fun pit gigs together, Shelly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a very different kind of musical experience, but a humbling one, because you have to have practice at those sorts of things to get good at them, just the same way you do playing bar gigs.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me think like, if you're kind of goofing around and we're all kind of playing fast and loose at a bar gig, we're just used to it because we played music with each other enough. But you go to one of those and it's like, how many people are in the pit, you know? Is it 10, 20, 30, 40? I mean, you have a lot of people and they're kind of maybe relying on you to hit certain parts at certain times
I missed it.
to cue them in.
Well,
so you can't just like fuddle in a fill.
That's a great point, 'cause I think the hardest moments, at least for me in pits, have been when there are sections that are technically open because the actors are doing something on stage.
Yeah.
And both the band and the director have to be attentive to what's happening on stage to a cue that moves the music along. Because a lot of times you're reading a chart and maybe 4 to 8 bars is looped and you're waiting for someone to do something
Everyone's
to
leaning-
proceed beyond that loop.
Everyone's leaning forward and waiting for Dan Cassidy's arm to drop.
Yeah, exactly. The hammer drops, yes.
Well, and
yes.
I don't know how you guys do it because as the piano player in some of those things, I have the words, I have the dialogue, all of that in front of me, and so I'm like, all right, we've already hit that,
That is
like
another
you know,
thing.
and you guys
Yep.
just have to
Sometimes we're just looking at charts and maybe we have a few vocal or like
like a cue.
yeah,
that you
spoken
in.
word cues
Yeah,
written in,
yeah.
but that'll be it. And yeah, it's sometimes it's a challenge. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's a great challenge.
It is fun.
Yeah, very,
It
very
is
cool.
fun, and I love shouting out. No, we're on measure 53. You know, if we're in the wrong spot.
In a in a hushed whisper, of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
353.
So we're very close to get talking about the Reforge Initiative, but I am just curious, what's your favorite type of gig to play?
For me, that's pretty. I usually prefer jazz gigs. Just I feel like I can push the hardest on my instrument, and just for me, the music tends to be the most exciting and challenging technically and physically. But that's not to, playing rock and roll and stuff and just getting loud is also a blast. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're different animals, but
Different
I think
mindset,
jazz is
probably.
probably my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywhere where the crowd is attentive. Otherwise, I'm not picky. I don't play anything that I don't want to play anyway. So it's all the same to me. So
That's true.
as long it
A
could
good
be a
crowd.
hole in the wall, it can be a huge stage, but
Yeah, good crowd makes or breaks a gig.
yeah,
10
I'd rather play a small bar with an attentive crowd than a big stage where no one's listening.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I've done one of those. It was in Cedar Rapids. It was a biker bar, and we played the night before the Iowa State game, and the only people there were the bartenders.
Yeah.
We put on a really good 40-minute set, and the bartender came up and said, "Thank you. Here's your money." But you're right. An attentive crowd, wherever you're playing and whatever you're doing, is definitely the way.
Yeah.
You too?
I mean, yeah, just to tack on to that, I think somebody brought it up once maybe in conversation with me not terribly long ago, and it was like, if you go to those shows sometimes where they're like maybe less attentive, like, and you could find that one table that's keyed in on you, like that is like a fun lifeline to have. Just sometimes in like a group of people, there's one table that's really into it, and you're like,
That just happened to me this other week. Jeff and I were playing a little band called Stadium Drive up in Rochester, and we had a really bad snowstorm, and the roads were pretty iced over, so it wasn't a busy night. Like it wasn't terrible either, but about halfway through, a table came in, sat pretty much right in front of us, and we immediately noticed they're singing along to almost everything we're doing, any cover we're doing, and eventually we start vibing and build a repertoire, and it wound up being a hoot of a night, and they've reached out about maybe some private parties, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, it's fun how those
Bookings.
what could be what seemingly on paper could be a dud gig can turn into a really fun night.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's on paper, it doesn't look like what you actually come out of it with. And I think that's
Exactly.
one of my favorite parts about just going into gigs and trying to have like an open mindset, like that. Because, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just fun to go out there and just see what it's going to be like on any given night.
For sure. And what do you most enjoy, or what do you think is unique, either way, about the Fort Dodge live music scene? Like, what's cool about what we have going on here? Because we mentioned in all of our podcasts, like, there are on average over 60 art and music events in Fort Dodge every single month.
You say that so much it actually gets mentioned on other podcasts.
I mean, it's true though, and it's
It is
something
true.
that we should celebrate. And for a community this size, people are like, "Are you kidding?" And I'm like, "Look, yeah, it's real."
Well, I think you answered your own question. Is I think what makes this place so great is just the sheer amount of talent, or just people that are interested in the arts, from amateur to professional, and not only that, but it's not elitist. So you have all these groups interacting together all the time. Like these jam nights we mentioned earlier are a great example of that. And so you have everyone, young and old, beginner to professional, coming together in this place, and that does not happen. I mean, most communities in Iowa don't even have a music scene this size, or even close to it.
Which is wild.
And then, the cities that do, I think, they tend to be a little more cliquey, and you don't have this constant interaction that this community has, and I think that's what's great about it.
Yeah, like that's something that always blows me away is like the community of musicians is one thing, but the community of the fans of the musicians, like I don't know if I could like name them, but like you've played enough shows, you've all played enough shows, and like around town here, it's like there's probably about 50 plus people I could think of off the top of my head that don't play any instruments that I see at a lot of shows, regardless
If we
of what
started
show.
naming names, we could go for a while, but there's some great support. A few people have walked in even while we're doing this. So that's pretty cool.
Mr. Ober, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't. I agree with everything.
Okay.
As per usual, he agrees with
That
everything
doesn't
I
surprise
say.
me.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get to the Reforge Initiative. And before I even say anything, Jeremy, you were kind of, from my point of understanding, my perspective, is you are the leader and the founder of this concept. And what was 6, 7 years ago, Jeremy thinking when this concept was, I don't know, in gestation?
Well, I would say the Brutal Republic are the founders.
Okay.
I just happen to have gotten voted president once we actually made a board.
He's modest. This would not exist without his driving force. We jumped on board immediately because we immediately saw kind of, I think,
Right.
some of his vision. But
Well,
continue. I don't want to interrupt. Yeah.
yeah. A lot of it stemmed from, I'm good friends with Bob Wood here in town, and me and him were sitting around, and he was kind of discussing his time with the Lizard Creek Blues Society when they were doing that here in town, and Bill Kurtz had come up. Bill Kurtz was one of those supporting characters here in town. Great guy, loved music.
Came to everything.
Brought a camera a lot of the time, and did a lot of good photography. And we were just talking about him, and Bob had just brought up in passing that he wished that Lizard Creek, when it was still going, had thought about starting up a scholarship in his name. And so it just kind of clicked with me. I was like, that is a good idea. And I could think of a few other people that it would be nice
So
to
was this
do that
after
for.
Bill had passed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so that's kind of what started it going, and then just kind of snowballed from there. And it's like, well, actually, it'd be nice, to have one for Paul Reisner too. And
Who was?
let's
talk about these people.
Yeah. So Bill Kurtz, first off, we already talked about him, and he was part of Lizard Creek Blues Society as well.
Yep. He was
Which
a board member.
what is that?
The Lizard Creek Blues Society was an organization that specifically brought blues acts to Fort Dodge. They had an annual event called Blues Under the Trees here in town for a while.
Which was out at the racetrack.
Yeah. And they put on other shows too. They
did
put
a
on
lot
shows
of,
at the
at the
Starlight.
Starlight.
Yeah. And they put on some shows at Betsy's Blue Note when that was up and running here in town. Paul Reisner was a drummer in a band I was in called Cheap Drinks, and kind of just a dear friend of mine. He worked at Fort Dodge Ford here in town, and so we started one for him after he passed.
And that's a business focused
That's the
scholarship.
that's the business
Bill
scholarship.
Kurtz, as you mentioned, his scholarship is a music scholarship.
Yep. And then we did a nursing scholarship for Becky Joslin, who was, once again, just a supporting character. She was out everywhere, especially at the Crave Tattoo oriented events. She was just always around. Just a joy to have.
It's funny you mentioned Crave. Gina just walked out.
Yeah.
If you
I
don't,
know it.
if you don't edit out the wave and someone chiming in, that's who that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah. And then to bring that all the way around, Jeremy Caldera was artist at Crave Tattoo, who passed away young, but I have art on me from him, and so we just thought right out of the gate that those were four good names to put on scholarships, and he has the art scholarship.
Yeah.
And so, I think we only started out giving out 2 scholarships the first year, but that was just because of lack of applicants. Yeah, if I'm remembering right. And then once word got around, then every scholarship started having applicants. And so we were able to give all of them out. And we have 2 new ones, actually. Now, there's one from an anonymous donor for the trades.
The Golden Anvil.
The Golden Anvil, yep. And then
who's that in named?
no name on that
name.
one.
Anonymous for that. Yep.
And then Jeff.
There's not even a name for the scholarship.
No.
yet?
It's called the Golden Anvil.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I'm out of the loop right now.
yeah.
Jeez.
And then Jeff Jenkins.
Yes, that's the other
from the
one.
Moose Lodge.
Which is a
and
community service.
community service
He was a
scholarship.
big supporter of the arts.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't know. How do you determine who that's going to be, or is it just kind of when the pieces all line up, when the puzzle comes together? That's the
As far as who's the name on
Right.
the scholarship?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember what the process was in my mind at the time, but
I feel like
know.
it's pretty much just been people who have influenced our lives or the scene greatly who
Yeah.
have passed on.
Yeah.
And we're trying to honor them in some way or another.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it
the
was-
main.
yeah, yeah,
The
of course.
main connection.
Yeah, that's not to say if someone doesn't have a scholarship with their name on it doesn't mean that
Their contributions
weren't
that
important.
we thought they
Exactly.
were unimportant or anything like
Exactly.
that.
Right.
Yes.
But
Exactly.
but they were just names that stuck out to us.
Well, and each of these were our $500 scholarships every year. So what's that? 6? That's $3,000 in scholarships
Yeah.
every year, and these are available to both senior high and St. Ed students in Fort Dodge, which is amazing. And yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it took a year or 2 to be like, okay, these are real scholarships.
Yeah.
Like
right.
you're gonna get your check.
Yeah.
It's worth filling out the application.
Yeah. It probably looks shady with like 3 dirty musicians trying to hand out money, but for sure.
So, Jeremy and I had a conversation when this was initially getting started about how this could work. The Reforge Initiative is one of 2 organizations in the last 8 years that has been under the Fort Dodge Fine Arts umbrella. So because of our 501c3, our nonprofit status, we're able to facilitate like the bookkeeping, the
Yes.
accounting, some of that, and help assist them jump through some of those hoops and make it like super legitimate. And but I mean, they do all the fundraising, and that's I think something we should talk about too, like what are the fundraising aspects of this, because initially we looked at this as individual scholarships, right? Like would you like to donate to this one? Would you like to donate to this one? Where now it's a pool, and you guys have really done an amazing job over the years.
Thank you, yeah.
Of, you have an annual fundraiser, which is again why we're here at River Hops, but
Yep.
but talk about, I guess, the fundraising donation aspect of the scholarship program.
Well, you said it already. The really the annual fundraiser is the big thing we really kind of plan all year round for, and try and make a very cool event where we can bring as many local artists and community members in and get as many people involved and raise awareness as much as possible. But obviously, I think everyone who's involved with the scholarships everyone they know, and then even the people who the scholarships are named after, their friends and family, I'm sure, contribute and help. There's, like he said before, one scholarship is completely privately funded anonymously, which is fantastic. Am I missing any? Is there anything else that I'm not thinking about?
Well, it's the only thing that we put on annually to raise money. It's just a one event and done kind of thing. So it's the only time that we ever really ask for
Have
money.
an official ask.
Yeah,
But essentially, people could donate anytime.
Whenever they want, and some people do.
Yeah.
Especially some people that want something to go to a specific
And how would they go
scholarship.
about doing that if they wanted to? Just
Well, generally they just
the
cut a
dummy.
check to the best way is check, and to Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association, and then just specify
In the memo?
in the memo if they want it to go to a specific scholarship.
Do they need, if they don't care about the scholarship, do they still need to at least stipend that it needs to go to
That
the
it needs to go to
Reforge,
the
a
Reforge.
Reforge
Yeah.
scholarship? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, and those donations, besides the group, which we're going to talk about your board of directors too, like list those people if we can. But there's a couple ways people can donate. They can donate through the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association website, and like you said, earmark that in their donation for the Reforge Initiative. And another way is to send a check to the Community Foundation here in Fort Dodge. I think it's 24 North 9th Street, Suite B,
Look at you go,
Fort
from
Dodge Fine
memory.
Arts,
Wow,
50501.
impressive.
And again, make that out to Fort Dodge Fine Arts and make some sort of mention that this would go to the Reforge Initiative. As I said, we do a lot of their, as far as the behind the scenes accounting, they have their own. Another way that we try to assist is through our relationships with the schools and continue to try to make not only the students but the administration aware of what they're offering, and then create the deadline, make sure the applications are presented to the people of the Reforge, and then they make their selections from there. We also manage the check distribution to the colleges themselves, so which can be a challenge sometimes. Like, I mean, it just depends on the school. A lot of them have gone to Iowa State and UNI and different places, so that's pretty black and white. But so that's the best way to donate, and that's a couple options. Otherwise, of course, you can get a hold of anybody from this table, and we can help direct you to where that would go.
Yeah, I believe actually you can scroll down and there's like a donate link right there.
Yeah.
So otherwise, the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association website's right down in the description anywhere. So if you really want to curb it right now and just hit pause and go donate some money, that's the easiest way to go do it.
And we'll wait.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
Oh, we just had our first
We just
donation.
hit $1 million.
So, and I was going to look this up because we put a little kind of spreadsheet together about this not that long ago. But gosh, how many students? And we got Jeff here in the background, so maybe he can remember.
Yell some numbers at
but
us from off
how
screen, yeah.
many students have been awarded these scholarships?
I
over
was
the
trying to
last
remember
few
how many years has it been now exactly. I remember 4 years that we've been doing all the scholarships, but maybe there was a year or two before that was...
That's
Jeff,
probably
you know?
something I should know, but I don't.
Yeah,
off the
I'm
top.
trying to remember.
Wait.
He's looking right now.
Jamie, look that up quick.
Our co-producer over there.
Okay, wait, here. I have it.
So
Yeah, talk about something.
Well, I mean that's pretty much why I'm here. So,
Yeah. The only other thing that we do on an annual basis is we throw a gala in the fall or winter.
And what is the gala?
So that's just more of a social event.
I think in part it's a thank you event for
Yeah.
all the people that helped for with the fundraising event, or
Yeah, so,
who we
yeah.
think might potentially in the future be interested in helping with the fundraising event or with the community
spread the
in
word
general.
about-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for the most part, it's an invite event, but the invitations go out to whether people contributed, maybe gave auction items to the fundraiser, or if they just have some kind of cool project that has caught our interest that we see that they're doing in town.
Also just
And-
some of the role players, I would say, like the teachers and some of the
we try to get
administration at the local schools.
Yeah, we invite a lot of faculty, especially concerning the actual
Like areas of the scholarship.
programs, Yes.
the classes and someone who could contribute to that major in some way or fashion.
So it's 26.
What's 26?
Scholarships.
26?
26 total so far?
Yeah.
And how many years? Would that
No,
be?
we gotta look that
'Cause
up.
there-
Keep
like,
talking.
like we
Talk
said,
about
there were a few years that were only
Yeah.
a couple scholarships were given.
Right.
At least one year were only.
So I'm
Yeah.
looking here.
Yeah.
2019 had 2.
Okay. So since
2020,
2019.
though 2020 had
5
1,
years.
2, 3, 4. So it doubled in
Yeah.
that year.
2, 4, and then
21, all 4. 22, 5. That's when the Jeff Jenkins one
Yep, and then-
became. 23 was 5. And then the
Yeah,
Golden
this-
Anvil this last year added 6. So
Nice.
you've gotten applicants from every category for every year except the first one.
which they at that point they probably barely existed.
Was that COVID
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
It was COVID year.
And on top of that,
yeah.
well,
I
good.
mean, it was the fall before
Yeah.
the shit
That's-
hit the fan.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good progress when we actually break it down like that. I haven't thought
Do you guys
about it.
want to hug about it?
Kind
No,
of now.
don't touch me.
One's like, no,
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
just stay over there. But 26 times 500. You know.
What was it? Yeah, 1,300.
Edit the number in. Like, I'll just mouth
13,000.
the number
My
and then
mom's
you
a
edit.
CPA.
15,000.
She's about to be so disappointed.
So you mentioned your mom. Why don't you go ahead and talk about the people that you have behind the scenes on your board of directors? And if you
My mom
can,
is
like, skill
not
sets
one
that
of
they
them,
offer.
actually, but she's a sweetheart and has been willing to help out whenever asked. She is a steadfast volunteer at the annual events, usually because of her CPA expertise as a door person handling money and making change. So, no, yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
No, so yeah, thanks, Mom. Not on the board of directors, but shout out to Peg Trevino. She's an angel.
You
Yeah.
need them too.
Yes,
No, you
yes,
do need
no.
them too.
But yeah, who is all on the board of directors?
We got everyone in the Republic. So there's Caleb Ferry, Laura Ferry, Carson Steeb, Pam Rose, Monique Bailey, Nick Zachary, Lincoln Batcher, Jefferson Fossbender,
Ron.
Ron Batcher, and that might be it. I'm probably forgetting somebody.
Probably. isn't
We're
it?
we're rarely at a meeting all at the same time.
Yeah, it's been a pretty-
It's pretty
yeah.
rare that everyone shows up to a meeting.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but that's okay.
I think that's it.
So it's $13,000.
Okay.
Total.
I believe that's what I said. But
Is
sounds
it?
about right.
Yeah.
Well, all I heard was.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So you were correct.
Yeah,
And that-
I tried hard.
That's amazing. That just goes to show how cool this community is.
Yeah.
That's hardly even us. That's the community.
Yeah, at this point, we can just count on people showing up and funding the
In the next year, at the
scholarships.
very
You
least,
know,
yeah.
everything's padded for numerous years.
And
at
yeah,
this
we've
point.
been lucky enough to have a little bit of extra to do fun things like the gala event and maybe expand into some other lanes beyond scholarships. You know, we'd
Yeah.
love to start thinking about.
That's my next question.
Actually,
Like, what's the
community
future
building,
and the
other-
goal?
Yeah. Well, one more thing about the gala too is, you know, for anyone who's curious, they can go to Brutal Republic's YouTube page, and we do interviews at the gala,
Maybe we can link to that. Hopefully.
and the people that can sit down and talk about what they have going on as far as projects they're involved in, and so.
So not only are you supporting what your own cause, but you're helping to support other
Kind of the
causes
idea,
as well.
yeah. Or just getting, you know, it's nice to get people that are doing that sort of thing in the same room, and you know, they can have their own conversations, and those conversations can lead wherever, and it doesn't have to involve
So you
us.
don't tell them what to talk about at the
No,
gala.
no. I mean, we hand out index cards with suggested
Some topics.
suggested
Possible
topics
topic
like
to
how,
discuss.
This isn't mainstream
Like-
news. Come on. Yeah.
like how handsome doesn't Alex Trevino look handsome tonight?
Again.
Just
Yeah, that's a required talking point on any show I go on. It's in my writer.
It's in my writer.
Yeah.
Well, and I also love that you do so far, historically, you've done your gala at the Smelter House, which is a huge supporter of not only the Reforge Initiative and the Fort Dodge Fine Arts, but several of
And
our
maybe like
members.
the heart of the art scene besides the Blandon, like they go almost hand in hand. They're on the same block.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are two epic places.
Well, and the Ann
that Fort
Smelter
Dodge
Foundation
has.
and the Catherine Deerdorf.
Yeah. Who my mom, if we go back to Peg real quick, she'll hate this, but if we go back to Peg, has been a board member of the Smelter Foundation
And she is currently at the Deerdorf, correct?
and currently in the Deerdorf.
Yes. Yes.
correct.
So the ties are endless.
Yes, yes.
Was that on purpose or was that accidental?
Me getting involved was accidental. Yeah. Peg's was totally purposeful.
This is your purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
What's
you were going
up?
to say something.
No,
it
no.
just I kept
I don't-
feeling like you were opening your mouth.
No, this is actually kind of nice. I can't even like fold a word up edgewise and slide it into the conversation. It seems like you were like talk for a little bit. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm here for. And then Jeremy went on about something. I was like, well, that's good. Yeah, I don't even have to ask a question. It's just like, go everybody. I mean, we've already got 40 minutes in here, and I basically haven't contributed anything. So,
But we were going to talk about other things we're trying to get into beyond the gala and
And the scholarships.
And the scholarships.
Are there
Yeah.
goals for the
Scholarships and
future?
fundraiser.
What's the plan?
nothing in stone by any means. You know, it can be something as simple as organizing a trash pickup day, and you know, anything crazy beyond that, which we probably just shouldn't say in case it just doesn't come to fruition, and then you know, whatever. But
We've spitballed some cool
We've thrown a
ideas.
lot of things at the wall. We're just waiting to see what sticks and what we might actually want to pursue and what's realistic to pursue.
one of my favorite ones involves getting past recipients of the scholarship together.
Yeah,
in
it
some
is.
way or
It is our
another.
goal to start following up and trying to track down some of the scholarship recipients and just see how they're doing right now, and kind of making maybe a little follow-up video with them if possible or willing. So we've kind of started to try to track some of them down, but haven't contacted anyone yet.
I mean, that'd honestly be a pretty cool PR piece.
Exactly,
You know, or like,
yeah.
you know, just something like, honestly, just content or whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
that'd be pretty neat watch.
Well, and
you
that's
know,
the whole
to see what
point
they're
of
up to
the-
if you do a little video on them or something.
Like
Right.
it's in the word reforge. Like you're kind of trying to see how the scholarship reforges the community,
Mm-hmm.
and I think following up on the scholarships is obviously the easiest way to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and
But
it's
there's-
not like, how did this $500 change your life? I mean, that's not what you're asking, but you know, we believed in what you were responding to in your application, and how have you applied that to your education?
Exactly.
And
Yes.
now,
Exactly.
whatever 7 years or whatever we said
However many
into
years,
this, generally some of those are out of college. So what are you doing now with that? And I think that's important too, because a lot of those people may be in a position to be able to give back to somebody else. And I think just the idea of local musicians and investing in civic. I mean,
Honestly,
right?
that's like the one thing I've been trying to find the way to ask that question. Like, what were you guys thinking? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I just want to go play music at bars. And you guys are like, I'm gonna change a
Drunk
whole
every night
town.
and- yeah. I know.
Like, what? But like honestly, that's just a candid, joking take. But you
No,
know,
right.
like this is a huge undertaking. Just to have like any scholarship for any reason is just something huge. And then you want to like multiply it. Now you have 6, right?
Yep.
And now you're talking about doing things like more stuff. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just, it's
Not
just
to mention growing the scholarships. I mean, we didn't mention that, but that's an obvious one. It would be great to eventually be able to give $1,000 to 6 different students.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that also speaks to how much the community, once again, you know, relies and just enjoys musicians and the things that you do and what you give back and the arts and even like this isn't just about that, even though like you guys are going into different areas of business and like we'll give you a scholarship for this. It almost doesn't even matter. It's like you guys just want to support and give back to the community in a way that to shape it and change it in the way that maybe it shaped and changed you.
Well, I think one thing to probably keep in mind is that neither Vino or me have real jobs, so and we
Lots
have
of free time.
We have a luxury of being able to do whatever we want, largely because of the fact that we can always play here, and there's always going to be people that show up, and
we're men of simple means. It's not like we're out here just trying to like make every dollar we can for ourselves. Like we're both okay taking, like right now it's like 2 days plus maybe one a month out of the year to make these things happen. It's really not that much. I think the community is really the outstanding players here.
Precisely.
We're just making it, doing the legwork to make it happen.
And that's exactly it. I mean, we've had the benefit of witnessing it for a long time before we started asking people for money so we can just like hand it off somewhere else. So it's just, I don't know, if you invest a little bit of time and effort, and it's really not a lot on our part to do 2 events a year. If you just invest the time and effort,
and then we listed our massive board of directors. They are also superstars. Jeremy and I just hang out and let all those geniuses do most of the work, and that's great.
I also admire the fact. Well, a lot of things about both of you, but I think that the fact that you didn't call this the Brutal Republic Scholarship, the fact that you made a whole different entity for this so that it wasn't self-promoting. This was a bigger than you. This was something for the community that you can assist with, and I think that, along with the way you're educating people, both of you, but I'm going to say Jeremy because you have led a lot of this. I've been in Fort Dodge 17 years, and I've seen you through a lot of stages of that, and I think what you are offering to the community and to the youth is really beautiful, and I don't know where initially that came from, that obligation to give back, but there's a lot of people that don't have that, and are doing things for selfish purposes. No, I'm not saying in Fort Dodge, I just mean in general. So I think a lot of people are easy to believe in this because it's not self-serving, and I think that is really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. It's once it was established and once people realized like what was at the core of this, I think was what kind of helped it expand so rapidly, and I'm honestly excited to see what you guys do next, because like I didn't even know you had like any other thoughts of doing anything other than just maintaining scholarships, like
that'd probably be the smart thing to do.
Probably the smart thing to do.
All of a sudden, I'm real tired.
Well, I mean, even like you said, it's like something as simple as like a trash pickup day. It's like, it's just like you're not like making money doing that. It's just good PR, and it's just good for the community, and it's just like enhancing exactly what you guys want out of this town. And
it speaks to the inception and the whole point of the project. When and like you were saying, it's not the Brutal Republic Scholarship for a reason. I think Reforge is such a perfectly picked name for this, because the reason that is the word is because we're trying to reforge that image. We're trying to reforge our community into something that we believe in and that we enjoy being in.
And we all want to be louder than the negative.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I tend to think we are, especially when we bring the amps out.
I
mean, okay, that's epic.
That was pretty good. All right, we'll leave that one in.
No. Finally, I got one.
No, I mean that's a good point. There's like a lot of positivity coming out of this, and I feel like that's something that this town has a lot of. It's just I don't want to say like unorganized. It's just there's a lot of positive things happening, and maybe people are just too nice to talk about it, And that's what we're doing here. We're here to talk about it because it's cool. It's cool that people are doing this much stuff. You guys like again humbly say like, well, if you just take 1 or 2 days a month or whatever, a couple extra days here and there, and you could do something like this. It's like some people don't have that much free time or don't want to, even if they do have the free time.
I think maybe the opposite point is most people do have that free time.
Oh, that's true.
And that's when we say the community is the real MVP here. When we do these events, they show up and make it happen. anyone could do this, like it just takes, a few days out of the week, and, maybe, having some artist friends definitely helps when you're trying to have a fun event, Artists are the most fun people in the world, I tend to think. So they make any event more fun.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty easy, honestly, and everyone should do it, If everyone was out there trying to do scholarships, it'd be great, I think.
Well, and if everybody was just supporting art.
Or just
in general,
supporting their
right?
community in some way,
Yeah.
All it takes is one day out of the month, and when you do it in a way that we're doing, it's literally just to get together with a bunch of your friends and plan a fun event,
Yeah.
It's very easy to do. It never feels like work. Almost never feels like work.
Yeah, the most stressful thing is like the day before.
Oh my God, we have to do stuff.
like making sure that everything's together.
Yeah.
Making sure everybody else is doing their job,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
When someone pulled pork doesn't show up or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pork, is that what you
It's
said?
it's always the dumbest thing that you never
Yeah.
can predict, but it's always something. Yeah, something
it's-
as seemingly inconsequential as pulled pork will totally ruin your whole day for about 3 hours until someone steps up. Again, real MVPs are always the community. We've had things not go perfectly, and someone always steps up and makes it happen.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it's
we look
just
like
awesome.
geniuses when our only job is just to set up sound equipment and be ready to play music.
I mean, we
But-
hardly looked like geniuses then, but
but then it's like, oh man, nobody got forks. Yeah.
yeah.
You never have to think. You never have to think
That's
about.
actually really hilarious.
real,
that you-
yeah.
Yeah,
These are the
you never
that
problems
you
you don't
even
think
thought
about.
to say.
yeah. No, nobody even think. You never have to think about forks when you're setting up for a show.
No.
And then all of a
Everybody
sudden,
was like, oh,
it's like, oh man, someone run to Hy-Vee real quick. Yeah.
I only have a spoon.
400 forks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, damn it.
Where do we even find 400 forks?
Party Productions.
I'm almost
At Party
positive that
Produ-
was at least a conversation one year.
Oh yeah.
Where do you find forks? I don't know.
That is funny though.
No, it's
I mean,
good.
I've
It's
been
good.
down that road too. It's like, what am I not? What do I need to be thinking of that I'm not? And I think one of the things that you guys have been really fortunate with is word of mouth. To my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you're not spending $1,000 on advertising for your fundraiser. You're not spending $1,000 getting the word out for the gala. And so I think that word of mouth and the connections that you've made and that have gotten behind you, whether it's the Growth Alliance, for Dutch Fine Arts,
Josh
the
mentioned at
Smelter
the
House,
radio.
the radio
Yeah,
station.
there's-
I mean, there are
several
people
great
at the
stations.
Messenger that are
They-
helping out.
Yeah, the Messenger, of course.
And those are all, that's where you have to hit, right?
Absolutely. And they're extremely helpful. People still read the Messenger,
Yeah.
I
Every once
get
in a while,
it
they
mailed
look at a
now. It's
bulletin
crazy.
board still.
Yep.
What'd
Put
you
up
just
flyers.
say? You get the messenger in the mail?
Yeah, the mail instead of
Yeah.
the old newspaper boy.
Oh.
Yeah, it comes with my
You
mail.
had an
It's
old
weird.
newspaper boy?
Yeah,
Okay, anyway,
ironic,
moving on.
Ironically.
Okay,
Anthony
so
Flattery.
let's, before we just ramble, which we can do, tell the people what's the best way to find out information about what you have going on and what the future holds.
You can follow us on Facebook. It's just the Reforge Initiative. We don't post that much, so we're not going to spam you with anything. We'll just keep you up to date on pretty much the one public event that we put on.
But also you do, and For Dutch Fine Arts does this as well. Scholarships are now available in the fall for students from the schools.
Yep.
We also promote, they're due March 1st every year. They're due March 1st. Get your applications
If
in.
you're a St. Ed's person listening, especially, because I think we only had a couple come in from there last year.
Yeah.
So if you're a parent of a St. Ed student or a friend of a St. Ed student, let them know
Or a
there's
parent.
500 easy dollars sitting there for
Yeah,
them.
a parent of
They just
any
apply.
any student who's a senior.
right,
Yeah,
right.
senior,
Not just
obviously.
St. Ed's,
So
but yeah, they're...
just let your kid know, especially if they're going into nursing, business, art, or music, or they're involved in community service or going into the trades. Those are specifically what we're dealing with. So, yeah.
And I think people always are kind of blown away by that. Like, oh, it's a music organization, but they're offering a business scholarship.
Yeah.
They're offering but you guys have done a really good job of putting together a story for each one, and I think our community is a better place because we have people like you and musicians like you going above and beyond and giving back to a community that supports you.
It's also us knowing that it takes a village. You can't have good venues without good business people, and you just can't have a good community without good nurses. So understanding that need for all of these essential things, I think, and trying to recognize that is important.
Yeah, I mean, Fort Dodge is big enough. It's a city, but it's a small one. But like, you need a lot of resources here in order to make all this happen. You need a lot of coordination between a lot of different people. And we're very lucky to have what we have in this town. And it's nice to know that you guys have an organization set up that's gonna help keep that stuff in this town. Whether like you said, nursing, a business, like arts, it really doesn't matter. You guys are just kind of across the board. Like, are you going to go to school to better yourself, and do you want a scholarship? Can you give back to the community in any way? Thank you. That's kind of the whole gist of it.
Even if you don't, if they someday look back at that scholarship and realize, hey, this community did something for me, it doesn't have to be like right after they get out of college or anything. Right. I didn't even come back to this community till I was almost 30. It's realizing that later in life, the place you grew up in affects you, and if you can do something positive to that place, it's kind of a cool feeling.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, that makes my heart
Hey,
warm.
we should plug, because the first question was, what other things do we need to talk about? We should plug the YouTube one more time, just because there's going to be more gala interviews coming out, and I think those are a pretty cool. They not only highlight what we're kind of about, but they highlight a bunch of other really cool things that are starting to happen in the community.
Yeah, so you can find the videos on Brutal Republic's YouTube channel. Hopefully in the future we'll just have a Reforge channel of its own, but for right now we're just lumping everything onto that one. So if you just look up Brutal Republic, there should be 2 videos on there now, but we did just have a gala, so there's more. There's more, another video of interviews coming. So
if we get more demand for them, we might start releasing them individually. We've kind of been doing compilations throughout the night, as opposed to releasing entire interviews, just because sometimes they get a little off track, all that fun stuff.
I remember.
But
What?
I'm surprised you remember, Shelly.
I remember.
I know.
Man, I was lit.
I know absolutely nothing about
One glass of wine
conversations
later
getting
for
on
Shelly.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
yeah, exactly. I said I know absolutely nothing about conversations getting off track, so I don't know what you're talking about.
He is the herder of the cats for FDG,
And
sure.
what cool cats they all are, as a matter of fact.
Man.
Yeah, there's going to be links down below in the description wherever you're listening to this or watching this. If you're watching on YouTube, hi, Mom. And
Hi, Mom.
Yeah,
Peter's mom.
Yes. So definitely just scroll down in the description section, click on it. I'm going to have everything Reforge that I can find down below, and then everything Brutal is going to be underneath that. So Brutal Republic stuff down there. That YouTube channel, check out those interviews. I'm going to go peel them up tonight and check them out. And it's all there, so you don't have to go hunting for it. It's good.
Right. We also have links to that on our Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association website as well, directly to their things. So however you can find it, just find it. And I appreciate you both. I appreciate your music. I appreciate your contributions. I appreciate your friendship. And thank you for everything you do for the scene in Fort Dodge.
Well, none of this would be possible without you and the Fort Dodge Fine Arts, so thank you. Yeah,
Let's
really.
be honest, that's true. Yeah,
seriously.
The unsung heroes of, honestly, like...
Maybe the most behind-the-scenes cat right here.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
No, but none of this would be possible without you, so thank you. Seriously.
I mean, seriously, you have venues, you got events, you got musicians, you got artists, you got all this stuff, and it's like somebody behind the scenes is kind of helping glue it all together, you know?
Someone's got to run around like a chicken with their head cut off to figure it
And
all
I'm
out.
happy to do it because I believe in it. You know, it'd be
that's great.
different if I was faking it, but we have so many reasons to celebrate. And Channel 13 8 and 5, come up here and help celebrate with us. And let's get more of the positive out about Fort Dodge.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. I gotta say thank you for joining us on this.
Speaking of the Channel
Mike
813, we had the meteorologist in here the other weekend.
Chief Meteorologist Ed Wilson?
Was it? Do you remember who it was? Who was it at Owen's
Jeff's like,
fundraiser?
no.
What?
Oh, he doesn't know.
No, okay.
Literally, one of the TV weather guys was here, and he posted about it.
That's
We were
cool.
doing a fundraiser for our friend Owen. Actually,
Yeah,
this is a little
yeah.
side tangent, and we gave him, raised some money for him to go audition to my alma mater, Berkeley College of Music out in Boston. So.
Mm-hmm.
Not a scholarship, but kind of a fun little one-off we did for a kid we really believe in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, again, just people in the community doing great things for other people in the community, and that's it's so awesome to see that
Very,
over
very
and
cool.
over and over again. Mm-hmm. That's why this place is awesome.
And if you want to mention it on the news, 5, 8, or 13, please
I mean,
do.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Chief Meteorologist, come to Fort Dodge. Talk
When the
about
weather's
arts.
good, of course.
Yeah, only when the weather's good.
Yeah.
And don't send Roger here because he's always outside in the cold. Anyway.
Cut that out.
Yeah, only because he's always outside in the cold. Anyway, thank you, Peter. Thank you, guys. Thank you,
Thank you.
Reforge. Thank you, Brutal. Thank you, Live Music. And stay tuned for the next episode. We have a lot of exciting things coming up.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. It's going to be wild. I mean, we've done many guests. We might do few guests. We might do no guests. You never know what's going to happen.
Not even going to say.
It's going to be wild.
Can't wait.
Wild.
There you go.
All right, shine on.
Good work.
Cheers. To
Yeah, might as well. We did to start it.
Tink, tink.
Tink, tink.